Scary telling.
I've always been a fitness enthusiast. There's just something about pushing your body to the limit that feels so exhilarating, so satisfying. But lately, I've become fixated on my own physique. I spend hours at the gym every day, pushing myself harder and harder, hoping to achieve the perfect body. At first, it was just a hobby, something I did to blow off steam after work. But as I started to see results, I became more and more obsessed. I would spend hours looking at myself in the mirror, flexing my muscles, admiring the way they looked. But no matter how hard I worked, I felt like I was hitting a plateau. I wasn't making progress as quickly as I wanted to. I started to become frustrated, even angry, when I didn't see the results I wanted. I started to read every book and article I could find about fitness and nutrition, hoping to find some secret that would help me break through my plateau. I tried every workout routine and diet plan I could find, but nothing seemed to work. And then, one day, someone approached me at the gym. He was a big guy, much bigger than me, and he seemed to know what he was talking about. He offered me something he called a miracle steroid, a special supplement that would help me break through my plateau and achieve the perfect body. At first, I was hesitant. I'd always prided myself on my natural strength and fitness. I didn't want to cheat or take any shortcuts. But as the days and weeks went by, I became more and more desperate. I was so close to achieving the perfect body, but it felt like it was just out of reach. The offer became harder to resist. I started to think about it more and more. What would it hurt, really? It was just a supplement, right? It wasn't like I was taking anything illegal or dangerous. And so, eventually, I gave in. I took the steroid and waited for the results to come. And when they did, I was amazed. I felt stronger, faster, and more ripped than ever before. It was like a switch had been flipped inside me, and suddenly, everything was easier. Workouts that used to leave me exhausted now felt like a breeze. But even as I enjoyed my newfound strength, I started to notice some strange side effects. I was more aggressive, more prone to fits of rage, and I felt like my body was starting to take on a life of its own. At first, I tried to ignore it. I was too focused on my own progress to worry about anything else. But as the side effects got worse, I started to become scared. Was I really willing to risk my health for the sake of my own vanity? But by then, it was too late. I was already in too deep. I was consumed by my own obsession with my own strength and fitness, and I couldn't imagine going back to the way things were before. I was addicted to the feeling of being powerful, and I would do anything to maintain it. I tried to ignore the side effects of the steroid, but they only got worse as time went on. I became more aggressive and irritable, snapping at people for no reason. My muscles seemed to take on a life of their own, almost like they had a mind of their own. I could feel them pulsating, urging me to push myself even harder. Despite these warning signs, I couldn't stop taking the steroid. I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength it gave me. I convinced myself that the side effects were just a small price to pay for achieving the perfect body. But one day, a fellow gym-goer approached me with an offer. He was a big guy, much bigger than me, and he seemed to know a lot about supplements and steroids. He told me that he had something that could help me break through my plateau and achieve even more impressive results. At first, I was hesitant. I'd always prided myself on my natural strength and fitness, and I didn't want to cheat or take any shortcuts. But as he explained the benefits of this new supplement, I started to become more and more intrigued. He called it a miracle steroid, a special supplement that would give me the boost I needed to break through my plateau and achieve even more impressive results. He promised me that it was safe and effective, and that I would see results almost immediately. I tried to resist the offer, but I was so desperate for progress that I eventually gave in. I bought the supplement from him and started taking it, hoping for the best. At first, the results were impressive. I felt stronger and more powerful than ever before. My muscles seemed to be growing at an incredible rate, and I could lift heavier weights than I ever thought possible. But as time went on, the side effects started to get worse. I became more aggressive and irritable, and I started to feel like my muscles were taking on a life of their own. They seemed to be pulsating and urging me to push myself even harder, almost like they were alive. Despite these warning signs, I continued to take the supplement. I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength it gave me. I convinced myself that the side effects were just a small price to pay for achieving the perfect body. Looking back, I realize now that it was a mistake. The supplement was a shortcut, a cheat, and it wasn't worth the damage it did to my body and mind. But at the time, I was so consumed by my own obsession that I couldn't see the warning signs. I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength, and I would do anything to maintain it, even if it meant sacrificing my health and well-being in the process. As I continued to take the steroid, I became increasingly obsessed with my own strength and fitness. I spent more and more time at the gym, pushing myself harder and harder. I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength, and I couldn't imagine going back to the way things were before. At first, the results were impressive. I felt stronger and more powerful than ever before. My muscles seemed to be growing at an incredible rate, and I could lift heavier weights than I ever thought possible. But as time went on, the side effects started to get worse. I became more aggressive and irritable, snapping at people for no reason. My muscles seemed to be taking on a life of their own, pulsating and urging me to push myself even harder. I was becoming more and more consumed by my own obsession, and I didn't care about the toll it was taking on my body and mind. I started to isolate myself from my friends and family, spending all of my time at the gym or injecting myself with more steroids. I was so focused on my own progress that I failed to notice the toll it was taking on my health. But even as I continued to take the steroid, I started to notice that it wasn't working as well as it used to. I wasn't seeing the same impressive results as before, and I started to worry that I had hit another plateau. That's when I started to hear whispers at the gym, whispers about a new supplement that was even more powerful than the steroid I was taking. I was intrigued, but also hesitant. I'd already seen the damage that the steroid had done to my body and mind. Did I really want to take another risk? But as I became more and more desperate for progress, I found myself giving in once again. I started taking the new supplement, hoping that it would give me the boost I needed to break through my plateau and achieve even more impressive results. At first, the supplement seemed to be working wonders. I felt stronger and more powerful than ever before. My muscles seemed to be growing at an incredible rate, and I could lift heavier weights than I ever thought possible. But then the side effects started to get worse. I became even more aggressive and irritable, and I started to feel like my body was starting to take on a life of its own. My muscles seemed to be pulsating and urging me to push myself even harder, and I couldn't resist their call. Looking back, I realize now that I was on a dangerous path. I was becoming more and more consumed by my own obsession, and I didn't care about the toll it was taking on my health. I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength, and I was willing to do anything to maintain it, even if it meant sacrificing everything else in my life. As I continued to take the new supplement, my obsession with strength and fitness became even more all-consuming. I was spending more and more time at the gym, pushing myself to the limit and injecting myself with more and more of the supplement. But then, one day, something strange happened. During a workout, my body started to seize up, leaving me writhing in pain on the gym floor. I was scared and confused. I had never experienced anything like this before. As I lay there, I started to hear whispers coming from my own muscles. They seemed to be speaking to me, urging me to push myself even harder, to lift even heavier weights, to take even more of the supplement. I tried to resist their call, but it was like I had lost control over my own body. My muscles were acting on their own, independent of my own will. And then, they started to speak out loud, in a voice that sounded like it was coming from deep within my own mind. "You're not strong enough," they hissed. "You need to push harder, to lift more, to take more of the supplement. You're nothing without us." I was scared, but also entranced. It was like I was in a trance, completely consumed by my own obsession. I couldn't resist the call of my own muscles, and I continued to push myself even harder. But then, something even stranger happened. My legs seemed to be acting independently of the rest of my body. They started to move on their own, like they were trying to take me somewhere. I tried to resist their call, but it was like I was powerless to stop them. They carried me through the gym, past the weights and the machines, until we reached a dark corner of the gym that I had never seen before. And that's when I saw them, the men who had been supplying me with the supplement. They were injecting themselves with something that looked even more dangerous than the supplement I had been taking. They turned to look at me, their eyes cold and calculating. "You're not supposed to be here," one of them hissed. "You've seen too much." And then they lunged at me, and everything went dark. When I woke up, I was lying in a hospital bed. The doctors told me that I had suffered a massive heart attack caused by the excessive use of steroids and other supplements. They told me that I was lucky to be alive, but that I would never be able to lift weights again. I was devastated. All of my hard work, all of my obsession had led me to this, lying in a hospital bed, unable to move. I realized too late that my obsession with strength and fitness had cost me everything: my relationships, my health, and my sanity. Looking back, I realized now that my muscles had been trying to warn me all along. They had been screaming out for help, trying to tell me that I was on a dangerous path. But I had been too consumed by my own obsession to listen. My muscles may have been strong, but they couldn't save me from myself. I was left alone and broken, consumed by my own obsession, and I knew that I had only myself to blame. As I lay in my hospital bed, recovering from my heart attack, I realized how much my obsession with strength and fitness had cost me. I had lost everything: my relationships, my health, and my sanity. But even as I tried to come to terms with the aftermath of my obsession, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was still off. It was like there was a darkness that had taken root inside of me, a darkness that I couldn't shake. And then, one day, I received a package in the mail. It was a small vial of liquid, with a note attached that simply read, "We know what you've been through. We know what you want. Take this, and all will be well." At first, I was hesitant. I had sworn off supplements and steroids, and I knew that they had nearly cost me everything. But then, I started to feel the familiar pull of my own obsession. It was like a voice inside of me, urging me to take the supplement, to push myself to new heights of strength and fitness. I tried to resist the urge, but it was like a magnet, pulling me closer and closer. And then, without even realizing it, I found myself reaching for the vial. I knew that I was making a mistake, but I couldn't help myself. It was like I was addicted to the feeling of power and strength, and I would do anything to maintain it, even if it meant sacrificing everything else in my life. But as I injected myself with the liquid, I realized too late that it was different from anything I had ever taken before. It was like a darkness had taken root inside of me, spreading through my veins and into my mind. At first, I tried to ignore it, telling myself that it was just a side effect of the supplement. But as time went on, the darkness grew stronger, consuming me from the inside out. I started to have nightmares, vivid and terrifying visions of my own muscles turning on me, speaking to me in voices that sounded like they were coming from deep within my own mind. I couldn't escape the feeling that something was watching me, waiting for me to slip up, waiting to consume me from the inside out. And then, one day, I woke up to find that I had grown even bigger, even stronger than before. My muscles seemed to be pulsating with a life of their own, urging me to push myself even harder, to lift even more weight, to take even more of the supplement. But this time, I knew that I couldn't keep going. I knew that my obsession with strength and fitness had cost me everything, and that I couldn't keep sacrificing my health and sanity for the sake of a perfect body. So I made the decision to destroy the vial, to rid myself of the darkness that had taken root inside of me. It wasn't easy, but it was necessary. Looking back, I realize now that my obsession with strength and fitness had cost me everything. But I also realized that I still had the power to choose a different path, to choose a healthier and more balanced life. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.